In recent years, it's become almost cliché to compare an opponent's political ideology with famous dystopian novels. But sometimes the comparison is on point, as with the famous novel Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Here are 3 ways Huxley's world has come crashing into our own. First, both our world and Huxley's are deeply rooted in pleasure and self-satisfaction. In the novel's world state, citizens are herded from one brain-numbing diversion to another. Instead of the movies, characters plug into a sort of futuristic virtual reality sensation machine. As the ultimate stopgap against negative emotion, every citizen is placed on a constant ration of soma, a powerful hallucinogen that numbs every thought and leaves users extremely happy for hours at a time. The people of this world hate discomfort so much, they'd rather be strung out on drugs instead. Now think about our world. When was the last time you or I simply sat for 1 hour without an electronic screen in front of us and just thought about life? Instead, whenever we feel the slightest bit of boredom or anxiety, we turn to the tiny televisions we keep in our pockets that we sometimes use to communicate. And when we do communicate, we prefer strangers who like our social media posts instead of flesh and blood friends who like us. The second way our world mirrors Huxley's, the degradation of the family. The people of Huxley's world constantly chant, "Everyone belongs to everyone else," which directly conflicts with monogamy, as well as the unique bonds between mothers, fathers, and their children. In Huxley's novel, the nuclear family isn't simply antiquated, it's an illegal, repulsive notion. Instead of the family being the foundation of society, the state is. Because only government bureaucracy is considered capable of keeping everyone happy all the time. Do you see the same thing in our world? Today, politicians arrogantly speak of our children as if children belong to the state. Teachers at government schools hide what children say about their sexuality from parents because only teachers and bureaucrats know what's really best for children. Some groups have even said their goal is to destroy the nuclear family, while others try their best to ignore it and praise any bizarre coupling or grouping of romantic relationships. Which leads to the third, and perhaps the most alarming similarity between our world and Huxley's, the separation of sex and procreation. Huxley's society is a promiscuous one. People have so much sex it becomes purely recreational, but no one ever becomes pregnant. The idea of sex having anything to do with pregnancy is a shameful one. Instead, people are sterilized and babies are grown in labs, where they're designed from conception to fill a specific role in society. People are mere commodities, productive workers by day and sex objects by night. This one isn't hard to spot in today's world. After all, the idea that a woman would choose to not use birth control in her most fertile years is now considered bizarre, and doctors will urge her against the idea. But on the other hand, the idea of creating a child through an egg donor, sperm donor, a surrogate womb, and 2 adoptive parents, even of the same sex, is considered perfectly normal. What makes Huxley's novel so terrifying is that the characters all love this dystopia, including the ones who know it's bad for them. Ultimately, this leads to their own destruction. But it doesn't have to be that way for us. Put down your phone, or get a phone that's not a television. Sit down with a friend and talk about a book or a piece of art. Treat sex as an expression of marital love, the complete and permanent gift of self to another person. Generously welcome the fruit of that love into the world. Show that the family, the domestic church, is hard work, but it's more satisfying than any of the world's soma. The protagonists of Brave New World gave in to despair, and their evil world marched on without them. But we have hope they did not possess, eternal hope in Christ, who gives us the courage to persevere, just as the saints who came before us. One constant obstacle to us in today's world is the idea I mentioned before, that sex is separated from procreation. Just this error alone is responsible for so many evils in our society, and many of them you wouldn't expect. Click or tap here and I'll explain how the church predicted these evils decades ago and how we can undo the damage they've caused. I'll see you in the next video. I'm Trent Horn, author and Catholic Answers apologist for Edify.